Monsters, murder, mayhem. The world of gothic horror and pulp fiction comes to life every week on Wednesday's Weird Stories. This is Wednesday's Weird Stories, your home for all things spooky, weird, horror-related, and all of that good stuff wrapped up in a short little segment we do here every Wednesday, every week on Rock Soul Radio. Now, tonight's story has a special connection for me and a special place in my heart in that I actually know the author. If you've been listening in and you're familiar with what we do here on Wednesday's Weird Stories, that may seem a little bit weird because we feature artists that are dead. This one's not. Most of our artists and authors are from the 1800s, early 1900s, back in that public domain realm to where I don't have to pay royalties to anybody because we don't have the budget for that. So we're doing the public domain stories. But tonight's story is written by a living author and actually an unpublished and up-and-coming author, someone that is very near and dear to me. So, Beck Williams, thank you very much for the story this evening. This was a story created for their speech program, and I just absolutely loved the emotion that was put into it, the themes behind it, and really all of the care that was put into crafting this story to make it real and authentic and powerful, really quite powerful. Now, while this story is a fictional story, this is dealing with themes that are very real in today's society and in all societies, I think, but it's something that we're really looking at very heavily in our modern society, and the youth of today are facing a lot more than I think they ever really have in the past. We're talking about dealing with depression, anxiety, thoughts of suicide, and things like that. So it's some dark topics tonight. This is not, a lighthearted ghost story by any means. This one's probably going to hit you in the feels. So just so you know, trigger warnings. If you have any concerns, there are subjects dealing with rape, with abuse, and suicide. So just want to get that out there for those that may be concerned and may have some past history and past trauma that they're working through as well. With that, let's go ahead and get into tonight's story. This is The Hanging Tree by Beck W.
Today, more teens are diagnosed with depression than ever. Suicide rates are spiraling out of control. More often than not, people aren't even diagnosed until after they've attempted suicide. Meet a young teen, Raven Walker, who has been struggling with depression since she was young. I don't remember how it started. No matter how many times people ask, why did you do it? Or when did it start? Or even, have you tried being happy? My answer is always, I don't know, or I can't remember, or it's not that easy. I don't remember the first time the thoughts came. I don't remember the first time I saw blood dripping from my arms. I tell people to stop asking. I tell the voices to just go away. I pulled at my hair. I made myself throw up to satisfy them, but they never go away. The thoughts of dying never went away. It was my first attempt. I couldn't have been older than 12. It was supposed to go according to plan, but it didn't. My mom walked in, scared me, and I fell. I almost died. It might have made the voices happy, but I know everyone else would have been upset. I barely remember being rushed to the hospital. I barely remember being knocked out and going through surgery. I barely remember who the doctors were. The only thing I could remember were my parents' faces. The look of sadness and anger, the look of disappointment I had never known before. I wanted to cry right then and there. I knew things would be different. I was told I had to take happiness pills to cure my depression. There was that word, depression. I had never heard it before. I didn't know if what I was feeling was even a real thing. I didn't know if other people were going through what I was. I started to cry. I am sick. That's what they told me. They said I had to see a counselor. They told me I was going to have to tell this person, this stranger, all of the things the voices say. I couldn't. I didn't trust anyone, not even myself. I started to lie. I started to smile and say, yeah, I'm getting better and I'm taking my medicine, but I wasn't. I was getting worse and I would flush my medicine down the toilet. 3 years after my first attempt, I tried again. This time, I jumped off a bridge. I survived, but I was injured horribly. Most people who jumped said they regretted it. I didn't. I regretted not dying. The voices became worse, and I was stuck in a wheelchair for months. People started bullying me at school. I was stuck in an endless loop. My grades slipped. I went from A's to F's in a matter of weeks. My teachers would yell at me. I would skip school to smoke with my friends. I became addicted to more drugs than I could name. I started drinking. I did whatever I could to mute the voices. I met Gavin. The voices told me I wasn't good enough for him. After months of dating, he started getting abusive. Mentally, physically, any way possible. He called me fat, made me believe that I was the one causing problems in our relationship, made me throw up after every meal. I thought that was normal, so I didn't leave. He wouldn't let me leave. I wouldn't let me leave. Being in that relationship almost killed me for a third time. One day, he was beating me. I can't remember why, but he took a lamp and he hit me with it. I screamed. The neighbors called the cops and the ambulance came. I never saw him again. I suffered from some broken ribs and internal bruising. I was forced to stay in the hospital for months. I was told I had lost too much weight, being only 90 pounds at the age of 16. You could see where my ribs were broken. You could see every fine white line where I had cut myself. You could see every imperfection I hated about myself. I wanted to end it there. Of course, you can't end your life in a hospital. When I hit 120 pounds, I was discharged. When I left the hospital and I went back to school and the voices were quieter, my grades rose and I met someone new. Her name was Anastasia. She was beautiful, caring, smart, and had a voice more beautiful than a siren's. I loved her. We were together for almost 2 years. The morning of my worst nightmare came, but how was I supposed to know? I woke up, took my medicine, ate a small meal, went out for a run. But that's when everything changed. I was grabbed. Multiple men grabbed me and drugged me. When I woke up, I was in pain, naked, and chained to a bed. I couldn't remember what had happened. I screamed for hours in that abandoned basement until someone called the cops and I was rescued. I didn't leave the house for days. I couldn't believe people could be so horrible. A few months after I was raped, I started throwing up nonstop. My mom said it was a stomach flu. I didn't believe her. So Anastasia took me to the hospital and we'd found out I'd gotten pregnant. That lowly, no-good jerk of a rapist had gotten me pregnant. I couldn't believe it. That pushed me over the edge. I couldn't have a child. I was still a child myself. Which brings me to my last attempt. 4 days after I graduated, June 9th, 1997, I died. I wasn't even 18. The next day was my birthday. Dear Mother and Father, I am so sorry I'm weak. I'm sorry I'm not the kid you wished for. Today I found out the man who raped me got me pregnant. Today I realized I can't take this horrible world anymore. Today I take my life. I love you and goodbye. Raven Walker. I ran. I left the note and I ran. I ran to where nobody could find me. I ran to where somebody would not be able to stop me this time. I ran through the forest. I ran to the sturdiest tree. And that is where I ended it. That is where I couldn't take the world anymore. That is where I took my last few breaths. That is where the police found my rotting body months later. That is where they found the corpse of the rapist baby inside of me. That is where I took my life and made so many more lives miserable. Are you coming to the tree where I told you to run so we'd both be free? Strange things did happen here, no stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree. I am so sorry.
Okay, so are we all okay? Good. Again, this is, for me, this story hit very powerfully for me, in that I know people who have gone through elements of this. I have known people and struggled myself with depression and anxiety quite a bit, and suicidal ideations and things like that. And it's no joke. It is no laughing matter, and it's nothing that needs to be stigmatized either. One of the reasons why I really wanted to feature this story tonight was that it takes a modern look at some of the aspects that are going into today's depression in the youth, and the feeling of desperation and hopelessness that surrounds some of the teenagers and young adults that are in our lives. And this is something that, if you are experiencing this yourself, please reach out. There are suicide helplines. There are counseling helplines that are available. They're anonymous. They can give you the help that you need. And please make sure that you're reaching out to those who care about you, your parents, teachers, counselors at school, things like that, that you're really taking the time to make sure that you are doing everything that you can to survive, to just keep surviving. As someone who has dealt with depression and anxiety, and again, I said suicidal ideations throughout the majority of my life, please take it from me, it gets better. You're always going to be having little bits here and there that you're going to be dealing with, that you're going to be struggling with, but every day that you keep fighting, it gets a little bit better, and it does make a difference. The more you fight, the stronger you feel, and the more you can get past it. But you've got to be able to ask for help. You got to be able to work with those that are trying to help you, and really, push for that better life, and just hold on to that hope that it does get better. Thank you very much, Beck, for this story. Thank you very much for everybody for listening in. We've got more and more stories coming up for you. If you haven't heard all the stories, maybe this is the first one that you're tuning into, make sure you check out the archives as well at podcast.rockedsoulradio.com. That is your best place to find all of the stories. We've got like 13 or 14 of them up there right now, and ranging anywhere from 6-7 minutes long like this one, up to well over half an hour. We try to keep it pretty reasonable. We're not going into reading full novels for you. It's all about short stories here, because we all have short attention spans. Right. In addition to Wednesday's Weird Stories, I do want to let everybody know Rocked Soul Radio in general is your 24/7 source for Chicago's best independent music. And every Monday at 9 a.m., noon, and 3 p.m., we do a New Music Monday featured artist, where we take 3 songs from an artist that maybe is just coming out with some new music. Maybe I'm just hearing about them for the first time. Or, maybe it's a new release from an artist that we've been playing for a while, and just give you a little sample of what they've got going on, a little history, a little bio, a little social media plug, gig plug for the band, stuff like that. Coming up this Monday, March 26th, is Antifa. This is a side project of one of my favorite bands, Alewife. Mitch McNeil and Miguel Gonzalez get together in their side time and pump out some really cool jams that they put together under this name of Antifa. And there's, got some little political energy behind it as well. And they're both pretty progressive guys. And they want to make sure that good music stays out there and that we're doing the best that we can to make sure that we fight the power with music, energy, love, and all of that good stuff. These aren't black bloc guys. These are smash you in the face with good tunes kind of guys. All right? Next Wednesday, we're going to be dipping back into the works of Mary Shelley as well with another one of her short stories, The Invisible Girl. So make sure you stick around for that. And in the meantime, you have got a lot of work to do to get caught up in the archives. So again, podcast.rocksoulradio.com. That'll take you over to the Podbean page. You can click on the follow button there to make sure that you are notified every time I upload a new track, a new episode, whatever you want to call it. And there you go. Now, Grace is still here. You might be able to hear her kind of snorking in the background. She's got a little bit of a cold right now, so she's noisier than usual, but she's been a good little girl. We're still trying to get her adopted. If you are looking for a kitten in the Chicago area, check out catvandu.org and look at the cats that are available there. We did just get Chili and Demi adopted last week, so we are down to, we just got to get this little Gracie girl healthy and get her adopted and find her a wonderful home. So again, that's catvandu.org for cats, podcast.rocksoulradio.com for the archives, and just rocksoulradio.com for all of the music. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, find all that stuff on the website too, Instagram, all of that hoo-ha. And now I shall sign off for the evening and bid you all a wonderful, wonderful night. Thank you for tuning in to Wednesday's Weird Stories. Join me each week for a new tale from your favorite Gothic authors, and catch up on missed episodes in the archive at podcast.rocksoulradio.com.